The Conn Smythe Trophy winner finally gets the respect he deserves. What's up, Florida Panthers Daily? I am Andrew Sheridan here with you, back for day 3 here on Florida Panthers Daily, part of the Fan Arch community. No game last night for the Panthers. There is a game tonight versus the Boston Bruins. We will look forward to that and a whole lot more here on today's episode. It is jam-packed 15 minutes. Let's start with some key player updates from yesterday's morning skate. Sam Bennett, who is the biggest snub of the Olympic team for Team Canada yesterday, was named as a replacement for the Canadians. That's scary as an American, knowing he might have to go up with Matthew Tkachuk again, but he deserved it. But he did go out of last night's game, or 2 nights against the Sabres. He went out with an upper body injury and did not return in that game. He is now listed as day-to-day. But it's nice to see Sam Bennett getting the respect he deserves. What he's done with the Florida Panthers over the last few years, winning the Conn Smythe Trophy, what he did with Team Canada just a year ago in the Four Nations tournament. For Team Canada to maybe have the nerve, I guess is what I will say, to leave him off their initial roster, I think was shocking to a lot of people. He replaced Anthony Cirelli, who got hurt in the Stadium Series. So Bennett and Cirelli both get hurt at the same time. It looks like Cirelli's is a little more serious. He will miss time. He cannot go for Team Canada in the Olympics. So Sam Bennett gets the call. Some big news about Brad Marchand and Anton Lundell. Brad Marchand was in a regular practice jersey yesterday, and he was skating, looked pretty good according to all the reports at the morning skate yesterday. Paul Maurice, being Paul Maurice, talking about Bennett, Marchand, and Lundell, said there's a chance they all play tonight. There's a chance none of them play. Thanks, Coach. I mean, he's one of one. At this time of the year, he's going through a lot of coaching decisions with all the injuries. You don't expect him to give them too much, but that kind of made me laugh when he gave that response to the media yesterday. Some other good news coming out of the morning skate. Dmitry Kulikov and Alexander Barkov both skated with the team. I mentioned yesterday there's no real timetable for Alexander Barkov. Not really expecting him to get back with the team, but Dmitry Kulikov, some much-needed help, can be returning to the Panthers soon. How soon, we do not really know, but they both were on the ice finally. Paul Maurice also said this. This was a little more heartfelt from Coach when talking about the captain, Sasha Barkov. It's good to have him around, that's for sure. There's a bit of longing there when you see him in the hallway in his gear. We always have a spot for him. As always, good to hear the coach talking about the captain like that. Some good news, I guess you could say, on the injury front. Didn't think when I sat here with you yesterday there was much good news to be going around. We were venting, as I said yesterday. But out of all the reports we took away from yesterday, those were the positive ones, and we are going to look at the positive ones as the Panthers and the Bruins get ready to face off tonight inside Amerant Bank Arena. We've said it for the final 4 games over this stretch. We'll say it for the final 2. A crucial 2 points up for grabs in this Atlantic Division showdown. These teams met once already this year. The Panthers taking down the Bruins 4-3 in that matchup. It was up in Boston. Brad Marchand had 2 points, and not his return, but his first return in a full season with the Panthers. Carter Verhaeghe scored late for the Panthers in that one, giving us the 1-goal advantage over the Bruins. The Bruins, though, however, do lead the all-time series 66-47 and 13 between the two teams. But I think we all know the history, the recent history between these teams. My boss here, where I work now, up here in Gainesville, is a big Bruins fan, worked in Boston covering those teams for a long time. So we've been going back and forth here yesterday and today, having a little fun with it, knowing the playoffs. He loves to bring up this year and what the Bruins have done in January. I mentioned that a few days ago, tied a franchise record of wins in the month of January. And I just ask him, what happened the last 2 years? What happened the last 3 years? The Panthers and the Bruins have had some historic and fun playoff matchups. Obviously, more fun for us on the Panthers side. The 3-1 comeback, me and my buddy still say, was the most fun we ever had watching hockey. We were watching it all together up here when we were still in school, and we still talk about those memories. Before I get into tonight's game, one last moment on that 3-1 series. People forget the breakaway Brad Marchand had against Sergei Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky shut him down as time expired to force overtime. I remember looking at my friend saying, all right, we're going to overtime. Then Marchand got the breakaway. But that's a whole different story because that was 3 years ago. And now we are in 2026. February 4th here on Florida Panthers Daily in the Fan Arch community. So let's look forward to some of the stats on how the teams line up so far this year. I think Tarasov will be in net for the Panthers tonight. Not official on any side yet. I predicted Bobrovsky for the last game. I think after what we saw with him in that game, you got to go with Tarasov, maybe get him back on that hot streak. We'll compare Bob and Tarasov here a little bit coming up on Florida Panthers Daily. Bruins 32-20-4, again in large part thanks to their January stretch where they just seemed like they couldn't lose. 9 points ahead of the Florida Panthers right now, so another 4-point swing game in a crucial playoff race. The Panthers want to close that deficit to 7. The Bruins, this will be their last game before the Olympic break. So the Panthers can go to Tampa, pick up another 2, and only be 5 points. Only 5 points behind the Bruins heading into that Olympic break. The Bruins do score more than the Panthers, about 3.3 a game. Panthers right around 4. So whoever is in net is going to have to stay on their toes and be ready to go for the Panthers. One key stat in this game that I want to pay attention to, and that is the power play percentage. The Bruins have one at the very top of the league at almost 27%. They convert when they have a man advantage. So it'll be key for the Florida Panthers tonight to stay out of the penalty box. It is in any hockey game, especially in the NHL. You never want to go on the penalty kill. But against this Boston Bruins unit, you cannot give that up. Again, 27% nearly they convert when they do go the man up. But Panthers do have the stronger PK out of the two. The Panthers sit around 82.5% at killing off the penalty. So hopefully that Bruins top-notch power play unit will be negated by the Panthers penalty kill unit. But again, it comes down to staying out of the box, as we saw last game with the Sabres. You take penalties close to each other, they're going to bite you with how injured the Panthers are. The players can just not be on the ice as much as they have been recently. And then we saw in the Stadium Series, penalty minutes are key for the Boston Bruins. They take a lot of penalties. They were up 5-1 in Tampa on Sunday night. They lost that game pretty much only because they took penalties. They could not stay out of the box against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Lightning made them pay. The Panthers will have to do the same thing tonight inside Amerant Bank Arena. A few keys to the game before we move on, because tonight is a special game between the two teams. I mentioned they played in the Stadium Series. Panthers hosted the Winter Classic. So you see that next tab there, Jersey Showdown. I'll tell you why tonight's game is special in just a second after the keys to the game. Draw penalties. I just told you the Bruins will take them. They will give them to you. Take advantage on the power play tonight if you are the Panthers looking to build some more momentum or build any momentum after this last week of hockey, losing 4 in a row. The penalty kill. The penalty kill will be huge for the Panthers. Again, like I mentioned, the Bruins power play unit is elite. Top of the league, near the top of the league in the NHL on their power play unit. And then this is something I'm calling for the Panthers to do. Do something in the start of the third period different. They started last game against the Sabres with the third line, and they brought some energy. It obviously didn't work for the full 20 minutes there in the third period. Hit someone, not late, do it clean. Let's get a big hit. Let's get in front of the net, get a scrum early in the third period. We've seen this Bruins team in years past, like I mentioned, kind of fold when you get physical with them. So let's do something that third period to change it up and find a way to get energy going throughout the third period, because we know our bodies are tired with how much they have been skating. And then my final key to the game is pucks on net. Mentioned the other night in the Sabres game, we kind of switched to quantity over quality. The Bruins give up a lot of shots per game, so let's just try and pepper their goaltender and see what we can get by him. Some bounces gotta start going the Panthers' way. And I mentioned tonight is a special matchup inside Amerant Bank Arena between the Bruins and the Panthers, and that is because both will be wearing their special uniforms. We saw the Bruins in their Stadium Classic uniforms Sunday night against the Lightning. I loved them, by the way. I loved the uniforms in that game in general. And the Panthers will be wearing their Winter Classic jersey. So we got a Stadium Series versus Winter Classic matchup going on here Wednesday night in Sunrise. And I want to dive in a little bit. Against the Sabres was Vamos Gatos night. I mentioned that yesterday. But the Panthers did release a royal blue Vamos Gatos jersey. They were inspired by a lot of Colombian heritage and Miami graffiti history in South Florida, designed by an artist named Raquel. He had some dominoes on the sticks to talk about some of the Hispanic culture there. There was a Cuban chain on that jersey that represented his dad. If you're looking more into this, if you're like, what am I talking about? It's a blue jersey. It's up on the Panthers Instagram. They give you some more deep dives about that Vamos Gatos jersey. But I'm going to jump in here and give you my top Panther jerseys of all time. Of course, staying away from the basic red and white, home and away, even though you guys know about the patch on I'm getting them mixed up here, but on either the home or away, it says Florida. I think on home it says Florida, and on the away it says Panthers on the shield. That's a little note about Panthers jerseys for those just joining us here on Florida Panthers Daily, part of the Fan Arch community. My top jerseys of all time for the Panthers, my number one is the 21-22 retro reverses, not the baby blues, the dark blue ones that were the old Panther logo with the stick biting. My brother wears his to every game we go to. That one's my number one. My number two is the next retro reverse jersey from the next year, those baby blues. I remember I'd got a knockoff at first, and the blue was completely different, but I still loved it. But then I would sit next to my friend, and he had the light blue, the real light blue. And, man, those things look good. You still see those anytime you go to a game in Sunrise. My number three were the Reebok throwbacks from 2009 to 2012. Those, again, were baby blue. If you're seeing where I'm going with this, I love blue. Vamos Gatos. Now these three in my top three. Those were the mix of baby blue with the dark blue, had the circle shield in the middle with kind of almost the same type of logo that we had in the Winter Classic, that type of logo in the middle of that. And then my number four, and I think this one is just because it still has to grow on me. It's new. It's that Winter Classic jersey. It's my number four out of all the retros that the Panthers have had. But, I mean, it is a good jersey. I did see it in person on a lot of people when I went to a few games over break, and it did grow on me in person a lot better, I think, than it looked when it was online. So tonight I mentioned I believe Tarasov will be in net just because he has been hotter than Bobrovsky. But they had no official announcement yet. Who can we trust more as the Panthers come down into the Olympic break and into the stretch of the playoffs? Don't get me wrong. You get to the playoffs, even if Tarasov gets you there, it's Sergei Bobrovsky between the pipes. But who is going to get us there? Who's going to get the Panthers to the finish line with some more momentum? Bob's played in 37, Tarasov in 18. And they one of those 18 for Tarasov was a Bob start where he got pulled from. Bob's won 20, Tarasov's won 8. Bob has 3 shutouts to Tarasov's 0, but that's not necessarily what I'm looking at. The one I'm looking at is save percentage. 87% for Bobrovsky, near his career low. Tarasov's been at 90, so not all-star level, but it has been pretty solid. Only giving up 2.5, a little over 2.5 goals a game is Tarasov. Bobrovsky is over 3. So who do you really trust coming down more the stretch? I think right now, at least until the Olympic break, you give Tarasov that chance to get you to the Olympic break, go get you 2 wins. Bobrovsky had the goalie fight, and maybe Vasilevsky, you throw them together, we get a third goalie fight in less than 3 weeks. But I think right now, if you are the Florida Panthers, you got to be trusting Tarasov more in net to get you the must-win games that the Panthers are in right now. It should be a fun one tonight inside Emirates Bank Arena between 2 Atlantic Division teams fighting for the playoffs. The Panthers looking to make up ground on the Bruins. The Bruins looking to create some more space between the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. We will talk to you tomorrow at 11 a.m. right here on Florida Panthers Daily. It has been a fun February 4th with you. Until tomorrow, let's go Cats.